let's move on to the epic segment that has become probably the number one segment for the MetsBeat podcast and kind of catapulted itself into the Gentleman's League segment for the MetsBeat podcast, and that is the Stardom Sit-'em.
Yes, Stardom Sit-'em, brought to you by the Gentleman's League. The Gentleman's League current standings has B-Mel in second to last now, as he is no longer winless. B-Mel came out with his victory by a 400th of a point. He had
Still counts.
Yeah, he had about I believe a 30-point lead going into that final game. His player scored about 17 points, so he went out with a .40 lead.
So it's so funny because the entire year, I'm religious about bed. Because I don't function well when I don't sleep. So I try to get into bed by 10 o'clock. It takes me like 2 hours to go to sleep. I'm like a little sissy. Anyways, all year, Sunday nights and Monday nights, I always say, screw it. I have to go to bed. I can't watch this. So for weeks 0 through 6, I stayed up and I got heartbroken. 0 through 6 because I've lost the past 3 weeks on Sunday night at 1 o'clock. I've been leading all day on Sunday and lost at midnight, okay? And I'm like, I'm not doing it again. I'm not doing it again.
And it almost happened on that final drive.
So now I'm up all day. Sunday night comes. I'm like, I know this script. I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed. That's it. I'm laying in bed, and I do not fall asleep till 1 a.m. And I'm like, do not check the phone. You're not allowed to check the phone. Don't check the phone. Here it is. I should have just stayed up and watched the game. But the agita, I may have had a heart attack, God forbid, because I don't know if you saw the end of the game, but my opponent, Jimmy, went up by a point. And then the last play for the Redskins was a screen pass to Chris Thompson, which he looked like he was totally dead in the backfield.
And you would have lost points on that.
Lost points. I was losing already by 1 at that point. He bounced off the tackle, went 20 yards, and I got up by however many points you want to say.
Wow, I didn't know it happened like that.
I think I would have. I honestly would have lost my mind.
All right, so right now you're hitting 600 in your start sit advice.
What was last week?
Last week you had a down week. So after going 4 and 5, last week you only went 2 and 5. You got the Austin Jenkins and the Brandon Cooks, and also you said Amendola would do better than Hogan. So I'll give you a half point there.
Why just a half point?
Because that wasn't actually part of the start sit. It was between Chris Hogan or Brandon Cooks, and you said Amendola would get more than Hogan.
Really should get a full point.
No.
All
right, but yeah, I also do want to note that B-Mel did lose 2 weeks ago, highlighted by Houston's defense scoring 22 points against him. So he went 1-1 over the last 2 weeks, and as did I. So
keep in mind, I have scored over 140 points for the past 3 weeks. I am second in the league at 830 or 60 points. It's sad that I even know that. I'm second in the league points for.
Right.
I am first in the league points against.
And right behind him is myself with the points against. We both have just had a horrible, horrible hand. Luckily, I've pulled out a 3-4 record. Unfortunately, you with the 1-6. So moving forward,
I'm still going to make the playoffs.
And so will the Mets.
I'm going to make the playoffs. I'll even make a bet with you. I need odds on that.
No, I can't.
People are afraid to make bets with me because I always win.
Right.
All right, go ahead.
Now, moving forward, we'll start with the wide receiver section. You have Kenny Stills at Baltimore or Deshaun Jackson versus Carolina, potentially without Luke Kuechly.
Where are the games?
Well, Kenny Stills will be visiting Baltimore, so they're in Baltimore, and Deshaun Jackson is hosting the Carolina Panthers. Possibly Devontae Parker will be out of this game.
I think Mike Evans is going to get a lot of action, but I think he's going to be paid attention to a lot. And to me, this is the feel of a Deshaun Jackson 3-catch game, and he's going to break one for 40 to 60 yards. Like, I just think he's a game breaker, and I think he gets one of those this week. I go with Deshaun Jackson.
All right. Yeah,
I don't like – I picked up the Baltimore defense. I love them at home. I think Baltimore controls the game with the run. I think it's a slow game. And I think it's I
I'll
haven't
tell you
seen,
right now, Matt Moore's been doing great as their quarterback. I don't know how safe I'd feel with the Baltimore defense.
haven't seen the weather yet. I don't know, man. I have a feeling at Baltimore at home, Deshaun Jackson, and hopefully Baltimore steps up.
All right, so we'll bounce into the tight end department here with Jack Doyle at Cincinnati. Jack Doyle of the Indianapolis Colts, or Kyle Rudolph, a Viking, going into Cleveland. Both guys on the road here.
So that's actually a really tough one and a really good one by you. The reason I'm going to go with the surprise here, and I'm going to go with Jack Doyle because Cincy's corners are pretty good, and I think they're going to have to funnel their passes over the middle. I think Brissett is starting, right?
Correct.
For the Colts. I think he checks down a lot, and it's going to be 10-yard dump-offs. And I really think Doyle has a lot of catches, dinks and dunkers, 10 yards or so. Kyle Rudolph, the only way he beats me here is with a touchdown. They're supposed to get Diggs back. I think Thielen is going to have a day. And I think that, yeah, I'm going with Doyle.
Okay.
Now, odd pick.
Sticking with that Cincy-Indianapolis matchup, how about Joe Mixon at home versus Indianapolis, or C.J. Anderson on the road against Kansas City?
Another really tough one. I like it. You're really stepping your game up. So I'm going to make it personal now. I'm playing Dixon next week. So the way I'm hoping it goes is Dixon has a redonkulous game this week and just totally craps the bed next week. So that's what I'm hoping for. That said, C.J. Anderson is going against who?
He's going into Kansas City.
So Kansas City's got a much better defense, and what I'm worried about, and the reason I traded him a couple weeks ago, is they're going to start to utilize Jamal Charles a little bit more. They got to get him a bunch of touches, especially if they're going to try to make a playoff push. And I think they're going to start to mix in Booker a lot. So I am going to go the opposite way.
It'll be a little poetic getting Jamal Charles started in Kansas City. Get his reps up with the Broncos, right?
Yeah, it's going to be Mixon. It's absolutely going to be Mixon, and I hope my prediction is right. Mixon and my prediction.
All right.
Mixon is my prediction.
Moving into the quarterbacks, you have Ben Roethlisberger going into Detroit, or, again, back to that Indianapolis series, you have Andy Dalton at home versus Indianapolis.
This is beyond easy. It's Dalton all day.
Really?
It's Dalton all day.
Big Ben didn't have enough of a bounce back last game after that 5-in-toe game.
Ben on the road, awful. Ben against this Detroit defense, awful. Martavis Bryant is not going to play. Ben will get all his points from Le'Veon Bell, short passes to the end zone. They're going to cover Antonio, and Juju will probably have a decent game. Andy Dalton is set up for success.
Is he? I guess he's due to a certain degree, but since he hasn't performed yet, I just can't see him outscoring somebody like Big Ben, who can go off for 300 yards any day.
This is my strongest feeling on any of the start sits that you've given me, and you've done a great job with that. I'd put money on it. This is Dalton all day.
All right, so now with the fifth and final one, we'll go to a flex spot. So I'll compare a wide receiver to a running back, and we'll assume it's about a half or a full PPR for reference here. All right, so you have Golden Tate at home versus Pittsburgh, or Christian McCaffrey on the road against Tampa Bay.
So it's absolutely Christian McCaffrey because Golden Tate is questionable to play. I think they feature Galladay coming back, hasn't played since week 3. And the dark horse part of that is Jonathan Stewart is probably not going to play or is banged up.
Right, so less of the running back committee over there.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
That wraps up the start sit advice.
Cool. So hopefully I got it. That's it, folks. We hope you enjoyed the live.